Hello everybody and welcome to the Midnight McBride show, show number 58. We've made it past the big 50, show number 58. Now, I've got a very special guest with me in the studio, and this show's been called The Phoenix Rising from the Ashes, and you're going to find out why. And this is going to be a beautiful story, so I'm actually honoured to have Ilker in the studio with me. And Ilker is also the founder and owner of What's Loved clothing empire as well. So Ilker's got an amazing journey and an amazing story, and I'm really happy he's going to share it with us. So welcome to the show, Ilker.
Hi.
Hi. So, Ilker, I always start off with how we met, and I know Paris. Yes.
Yeah. He's my son.
Yeah. And Paris has actually done a couple of shows with me previously, and I don't swear often, but we joked about it before, and I called him a cool motherfucker because I hadn't known Paris that long, but lovely soul, beautiful lad, you know. And then
Thank you.
Paris mentioned about his dad, and I think that people associate with or are a product of their environment as well, and associate with similar people. So when I met Paris, I thought he's going to have a lovely family. And he spoke very highly of his family as well, Paris, and he said he spends as much time as he can with them. And then you appeared, this ray of sunshine, Ilker. Now,
Thank you.
people watching the show, visually Ilker, they're going to see you've got scars, you know, and this is going to be part of your journey. You tell us about this. But we'll just talk about what you do now as well, briefly, because we'll get to it at the end of the show. But you also now have a women's fashion wholesale retailer, is that what?
A wholesaler. Wholesaler and manufacturer, yeah.
Yeah, and it's called What's Loved.
What's Loved, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I've had the privilege of actually been to the premises and seen it's a big place as well.
Yeah. It's big enough.
Yeah, and Willow said that when I mentioned the name, she says, "Oh, I know them," and then she has your clothes, you know. So I'm not fashion conscious and not aware of these things, but people that are in the Manchester or even Northwest area would know who you are probably. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We've got a prominent spot, so hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. You were born in Hackney, so we'll start at the beginning, Ilker. And you're born in Hackney, and you're just a little bit older than me, aren't you? I'm 48.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm 50 now, unfortunately.
Yeah, 50. And very early on, I mean, how was it? Were you going to have memories of this maybe? I don't know.
Memories prior or?
Prior to your accident.
Prior to the accident, I can't, to be honest with you, I can't remember a lot.
No.
Because the accident happened at 2 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we talked about this off air before, and I wanted to make sure you're happy. This show is going live on the 27th of January, which is the anniversary of your accident, isn't it?
That's right, Patrick.
Yeah. So go for it, Ilker. Tell us what happened.
We had a paraffin heater. There were the old bottles where you put them on the back of the paraffin heater.
Yeah.
Basically, they used to let out a lot of fumes, so it was left in the corridor, and unfortunately it blew up. My brother was in the next door room with my mum, and my mum had a friend of hers as well.
Yeah.
Basically, they all panicked, obviously, because it was just an explosion what happened in my bedroom, and I was the only one in the bedroom.
So the bottle's stored in your bedroom, is it?
The bottle was in the back of. You go because I'm 50. They were banned a couple of years after this accident, anyway. Yeah. So there was a bottle of paraffin that you'd put in the back, and you'd light it, and it'd heat up the room.
Right, got you.
Yeah. Initially lit off paraffin fumes. Like I said, they were banned a couple of years after this accident. Basically, it blew up in my room. The lady who was supposed to pick me up, she panicked. My mum, the whole house was basically in flames. Yeah, it was like an explosion. My mum took my brother down. She collapsed. This lady got a little bit stuck where she was because the staircase is, etc. The whole like downwards was burning. Obviously, the fire brigade came. My mum was unconscious at the time.
Were you the main casualty
I was. The lady who was supposed to be helping me out burnt her arm a little bit. She panicked.
Yeah.
The fire brigade pulled up the ladder up against the window, and basically she left me behind. So the fire brigade thought that was everyone at the house. It was only when my mum regained her consciousness that my mum started saying baby, baby, trying to run back up the stairs. And that was the way that they were able to find me. Took me straight to hospital.
Yeah. And you had, I think the figure was 90% burns, is that right?
It was 9% burns, yeah. When I got to the hospital, I'd actually passed away. So they revived me.
Right.
And thank God I'm still here today.
Yeah.
So, 90% burns on the body. Obviously, I was quite small. My arms, my back, as you can see, visually, my hands.
Yeah.
One part of my leg.
Yeah.
As I was in the bed, I subconsciously rolled on my side and then rolled on my front.
Yeah.
Because my front's all right and one of my legs is all right. But the rest of it is severely burnt, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine going through that, you know, but as a child as well, I suppose I suppose there's no positives as such, but a child, you heal and repair and grow quicker, don't you?
That's right,
you know?
yeah. I've always said the one thing I look at what happened to me, I basically always say I'm happy it happened when it was young, when I was young, because I learned to adapt, to use things, etc. I could do quite a lot with my hands now.
Yeah.
But if it happens later on in life, it's a bit more difficult to handle, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like anything. When you get to a certain age, it's a lot harder. You say an old dog can't learn new tricks, but as a child, you do adapt. Yeah, exactly. Then, in your notes, you said memories of hospital, and
yeah, from there onwards, Patrick.
I'm assuming you're having lots of operations. Back and forwards.
I've had about 35, 36 operations. From 2 years old up until 13 years old, I was in and out of hospital all the time.
Yeah.
So I've been for 3-4 months, back out for 3-4 months. So I couldn't build up my school life neither.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when you look at my early years, when you look back at the reports, they weren't that great, especially the English language.
Yeah. Well,
And that was because when at home I wouldn't be speaking English as the first language. My mum and dad would be speaking Turkish, so I'll end up speaking Turkish with them. So I couldn't evaluate or adapt.
Yeah, I mean, it's simply this: if you're not in school, you're not partaking in the lessons, you're in hospital. Like you're not going to learn as much, are you?
No.
It doesn't mean you're not highly intelligent. It just means you're not learning the required syllabus. This kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know. So maybe tell us about your early school life and how was that? You know, because I know kids. It's a strange thing because some kids are completely open and accepting, but also kids can be quite cruel as well, can't they? You know.
They can be. They don't mean to be.
No.
And obviously, when you're a kid yourself as well, you don't. You don't realise neither. You just.
Yeah.
You don't think it's bullying or anything like that. You just think somebody's been horrible. Yeah. So unfortunately, there has been people who have tried to bully me. Now I do let it go on the odd occasion, leave it. But when it's persistent, then unfortunately, as a human being, I'm sure a lot of them they deal with it. So I've always had to fight, Patrick, to get any respect in life. It's only when people see or they're a little bit scared of you, they stop the bullying or they stop the taking advantage of you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. When you stand up to them, they then maybe start to respect you.
Yeah.
And realise actually this person's, despite what the preconceived ideas might be, a strong person.
Yeah.
You know.
They see, like, they think to yourself, oh, look at his hands, or he can't do anything, he can't fight. My dad, at a very young age, saw things, obviously. He sent me to martial arts school up until I was 11 years old to make sure I was prepared.
Yeah. What martial arts did you do?
Tang Soo Do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the doctor half prepared me because he prepared one of my gloves as a boxing glove. Didn't he? So he must have had a bit of insight as well into something.
Yeah. What made me laugh, we went through your show notes before, and it can be quite fun for me because when I read about somebody's life, most of the guests that come on here, I'm very fortunate, I get to learn about them, and see about the journey. And one of the comments was Fanny in the park. And I didn't know what you meant by this at the time. And so you can see where I'm going with this anyway. I didn't know what it meant, but Fanny was a person.
Fanny was a young girl. Well, she was about 3 years older than me at the time. And when we used to go to the park, when we used to live in Hackney, this was obviously, again, like I said, when I look back, I didn't see it as bullying, but I just saw it as someone just being a little bit horrible. So we'd go on the swings, and obviously there'd be 4 on there. So she'd push everyone and give them a little push. You'd want to get higher on the swings, the playground swings.
Yeah.
But she'd push me so hard that I'd fall off, and I'd realise that she wouldn't do it to anybody else except for me.
Yeah.
And they were all different colours and creeds, so it was just particularly down to me. And later on, other little incidents happened as well where, she'd be horrible. She'd say, like, she called me Bernie, things like that. Do you understand what I mean? But like I said, when you're younger, you don't really realise these people are just trying to bully you, or they've got maybe something wrong with them, and they're trying to make somebody else feel bad because of whatever problems they've got in their mind.
A lot of people that are bullies have been mistreated or bullied. And they repeat that cycle and pattern, don't they?
That's right. That's right.
It's the same with child abuse. A lot of child abusers, as terrible as that is, when you look into it, quite often they were abused as well. That's how that goes. Yeah. So something I'd just like to say, when I spoke to Paris, and Paris first suggested, he said, actually, my dad would be up for doing a show, and he's quite keen. And he talked about the title for the show being The Phoenix from the Ashes.
That's right.
Showing that, your life, despite the trauma and things that had happened, where you are now, and this beautiful human being that's been very successful as well. And on my arm is a tattoo of a phoenix, and it says, out of the darkness comes great strength. And I had that done about 10 years ago now. I had it done, and then we both discussed it, and there was lots of synchronicity and alignment. And I felt like after speaking to Paris, once we'd had this conversation, straight away I thought, yes, I really want to do this show, I was really keen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely my pleasure, Ilker. So then, Ilker, you talk about earning money when you were 12.
Yeah, my dad always used to say to me that I have to use my brain rather than my hands because some things I'm not going to be able to do. So he always pushed me to try and be a solicitor, always go to law school, etc. But from a very young age, I wanted to be dependent on myself. I didn't rely on my dad and mum for money, etc. I wanted to prove that I could do things without anybody else. So obviously, I first started a paper round. Then I started doing the local paper rounds. Then I had two brothers, so I thought, right, I'll get a couple of more rounds and get them a couple of trolleys and get them going down these 2-3 streets. Then I had one of my cousins coming and doing it. So when I was about 13, I had a team of 4 or 5 people who I was arranging to drop off it was called the Yellow Advertiser at the time, to this area, this street, etc. And then giving them a cut out of my money. So you were
a conglomerate at an early age, weren't you? You're international.
I was trying. Trying.
I was the same. I had a paper round, and then I put cherries on cakes, and I sold double glazing, and I worked on a building site. I worked in Comet as well, selling electrical goods. But I always had a job. I had to go out and earn. I wasn't self-sufficient because I lived at my parents until I'd finished college, but I needed to earn some money. I needed to have my own
money. Of course, that's good.
Then you talk about, Ilker, rejection number 1 in your notes, and this is, so you're going out looking for work.
I'm going out looking for work, and I've been approved. In the olden days, you'd send over CVs, etc., to people. So I've come down to being the last 2 or 3, I think, 2 or 3 candidates. And basically I was offered the job, but I was told that I had to wear gloves.
Right.
And I said, first of all, I ain't come across a glove what can fit my hands anyway,
Yeah.
unless especially making them. And secondly, I'm not going to be able to be comfortable
Yeah.
with
And why
gloves.
should you have to?
That's why I asked him. I said,
Yeah,
why do I need to wear gloves? And he said to me, you're basically going to scare off my customers.
Yeah. I know that's what they're thinking. But
Yeah.
you know,
So from there onwards, I decided that, I had to obviously push on and do
your own
things
thing.
more, do my own thing. But
Yeah,
I kept going.
yeah,
And eventually I found my first job, which Marks and Spencer's, worked part-time.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were really good to me. I'll be honest with you, the best company
Yeah.
that,
Was that in Manchester? Or
No, that was in Walthamstow.
Right, so you're still down south. Yeah.
I'm still down south. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I developed myself in Marks and Spencer's, moved my way up. They offered me a training management course, but I had in my head I had other plans. I decided that somewhere along the line, I'm either going to get stopped or someone's going to pull me up. I might be all right with the people I'm working around myself at the moment.
Yeah.
But later on, I'm going to come across specific issues, because I did have an issue, or somebody had an issue with me at Marks and Spencer's as well. One of the warehouse men, because the supervisor had a liking to me and was giving me extra hours and always saying nice things about me. He started being a bit spiteful towards me, etc.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take up their offer,
Yeah.
and that was it really.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because so in a way, he was jealous of you, wasn't he?
He was jealous, yeah.
Because you were a nice person and you're getting a bit of special attention.
Yeah. That's all it was. Yeah, and it was like all the women. I don't know. They just liked me because I was, whatever they said I'd done.
Because you're a nice human being. Ilker,
So
that's
whatever
fine.
I said I'd done, and I was pleasant to them, weren't rude to them. So, you know.
The next part of your journey, Ilker, is Wimpy. Now, I didn't when you said Wimpy in your notes, I wasn't sure which Wimpy you meant, because there's a Wimpy construction company, but I was hoping, and I was right, it's the burger joint.
That's right. Yeah.
Because Wimpys used to be everywhere, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the likes of Paris and that probably won't remember, but when I was a kid,
Yeah.
there was Wimpys.
It was everywhere. They were lovely.
Yeah, there was no McDonald's initially.
No.
It was Wimpy.
It was Wimpy what first started, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
unbelievable that. And it's changed.
So tell us about the story with Wimpy.
I was having a Wimpy, minding my own business, and basically there was a girl and a boy, but the boy was abusing this girl quite badly,
Right.
verbally, saying really horrible things. So I looked at the owner at the time, looked at his face a couple of times, realised he weren't actually doing anything. So I had to step in, told the chap to leave the girl alone. I was chasing her number, but I didn't get it, unfortunately.
Seize the day, carpe diem.
But anyway, so I told, and obviously she was appreciative, etc. Gave us a cuddle, and she went about her business.
Yeah.
I had to go at the Wimpy owner and told him what type of a man are you?
Yeah,
like,
why didn't you do
Why
something?
didn't you do something?
Yeah.
It's your shop, your premises. They're both your customers. You can't allow things like that. Gave him a right scene to. But this chap I bumped into,
The Wimpy owner, or the guy that was
the
abusing
Wimpy owner.
Yeah.
And that story comes a little bit later, because I bumped into him at the time when I was in a different type of business. I was in the travel business.
Right.
And I approached airlines to stock their tickets on premises.
You
So-
were a proper wheeler dealer,
Well,
weren't you? I can make money out of that. I'll do that.
Before that, I used to sell cars.
There you
actually,
go.
Yeah. Electrical stock.
Yeah.
We used to go to.
Some people like yourself have a business mind, can turn it to anything.
Yeah,
You've got
we try.
that
Yeah,
business
yeah,
mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So I used to have a travel agency. So basically, I went to the stockist of this airline called Honorair. So I had to meet up with the owner. So I walked through the door, and guess who's the owner? It's the Wimpy guy.
Same
the guy.
guy?
Yeah, the same guy. He owns 7 of those Wimpys in that area.
Right.
Yeah, so he's quite wealthy. Anyway, so obviously, at first instance, I'm a bit of a one in a million face.
You didn't just tick off anybody in the Wimpy or one of the people serving the burgers. Let's
go to the top.
It's the guy that owns them all.
Yeah, let's go to the top.
Yeah,
actually.
straight to the top.
So yeah, he obviously recognised me straight away. and sat me down, and he was really nice. And in this way, it was nice. When you have 10 tickets that you take from the airline, you've got to put a bond down.
Yeah.
And because he knew what type of character I was, he didn't ask for no 10,000 bond off me.
Which frees you up a lot to do more business, doesn't it? Yeah.
So then from that moment onwards, I just grew and grew and grew until, unfortunately, the travel business went online.
Yeah.
When it went online, that's when I switched back over to clothing again.
Ilker, in your notes, and what we did this time, which is quite unusual for me, when we go through the show notes, I usually have quite a bit of detail. So I already know where everything's going to go in the conversation. But with your show notes, we went through, and I didn't. And we decided to leave it like that. I think it's quite good because it's what we're talking about is it's fresh, it's raw on camera and everything. So, so I have no idea who Danielle is in your show notes. So, who's Danielle?
When I was at senior school in Leighton, there used to be a chap. I won't name him now, but he used to badly bully me, right. And he used to hide behind a couple of tougher boys in the school, or boys that I knew. So anyway, what happened is that once we left school, like I said, he was on a bullying tirade with me. Anyway, so it upset me in such a way that I felt like I needed to teach him a lesson.
Yeah.
So I went out looking for him, and I come across him opposite the Wimpy in Gants Hill.
Your stomping ground.
Yeah, new stomping ground. Yeah. And two girls were leaning into his car. Now, one of them was called Danielle, and the other one was her friend. I forgot what her name was anyway. So honestly, I don't want to get into detail with what happened with the boy who was bullying me, but he got dealt with.
Yeah.
And then from there onwards, these girls here thought I was like a bad man superhero.
Right. Yeah.
So they wanted to know me. Came down the week. They told me to meet outside the 7-Eleven up in Gants Hill. So we met outside the 7-Eleven in Gants Hill. I took one of my mates down. 7 people there waiting for us. Why is there 7 people waiting? Anyway, next week we come down, meet them at the Gants Hill. 18 people waiting for us. So on, so on. It got to a stage where we had like 150 people waiting for us outside the 7-Eleven. They were taking turns to come and sit in our car.
What were they doing?
It was just, so I'm on this euphoria now, thinking, what's going on here? Why are we so popular?
Yeah.
But it was just the mentality. Like what it was is that because we was from Hackney, and like we just gone over, like me, I've just gone over to this boy and just smashed his head on the steering wheel and told him to piss off out the area.
Yeah.
They thought we was some superheroes, and it was untouchable.
So they were coming to see you because I don't know, like respect. Or,
yeah. This is what I'm getting at. So what's happened, unfortunately, when I've looked at this whole process of meeting with you, Patrick, I've just realised that over periods of time, the only way that I've had any respect or anybody getting to know me is by me having to do something a bit negative, which is a shame on the world, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only negative out of all of what I'm saying to you, really.
Yeah. I think for me, for a long time, I was always the centre of attention at parties and stuff, and everybody knows I took a lot of drugs. But I also hurt a lot of people as well, and for that reason, you gain some kind of strange respect through that, and I was well known for that as well. Now I'd like to think that I'm known for a different reason, because I try and spread love everywhere I go. I mean, I'm not bigging myself up. That's genuinely what I'm trying to do. I want to spread peace, love, and joy, and I'm trying my best.
Good.
So that's what I want to be known for, not for all the things I've done before.
No, obviously,
I can't change them either. It's part of my journey, and we talked about this before we did the show, that I'd have nothing to write about, or I wouldn't be doing this show if I hadn't have been through all these experiences. So they're just lessons, you learn, don't you?
It is lessons, and like sometimes, like everyone has their like down points, and they get a little bit sad about relevant things and I pull myself back up and say to myself, I'm here for a reason. So and if the reason is trying to help a few people who, when they look in the mirror, to be honest with you, they've got nothing at all wrong with them. They should be picking themselves up and saying, do you know what, let's fight today. I've got
Yeah.
every angle going for me. Yeah, I've got no negatives about myself. Just because your makeup might not be right or your hair might not be right, that's not the issue.
Unfortunately, with kids as well, with social media and the media in general, I call them false idols. I write about them as well, where kids are trying to be like people and they don't
That's right.
realise those pictures are airbrushed and they say everything's perfect
Yeah.
and in Hollywood, and they're not. Half of them are violent, they've got addiction problems, they're not nice people.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to be like these people and they're not even real. What they're portraying isn't real. And
No.
so they're already set up for failure because they're never going to match these people because they don't exist.
Of course
you know?
they don't. Of course.
And then because of media and how they promote, models that are size 0 and 6 stone and all
Yeah.
this kind of thing, again, not really very realistic. Those people exist, but that's not normal. And they're set up for failure before they even start. They're doomed for failure because
Yeah.
they've got these impossible targets to achieve. And it's learning, I think, really important for kids to learn acceptance and to
Yeah.
be comfortable with who they are.
Well, what it is unfortunately, Patrick, there's a brainwashing program going for not just for a year or 2 years, it's been going on for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, and unfortunately, this is the state we're in now. Because what you're saying is 100% right, but whether somebody picks it up that way is a different story. Do you understand?
Yeah. And there's a lot of people who are healthy, nothing wrong with them whatsoever, but in their mind, they're not how they should be or not how they've been programmed to be and stuff. And then comes depression and suicide and these emotions and feelings about not wanting to be here because of the pressures of society. And like you say, it's learning, hopefully trying to spread the message that we're all beautiful and perfect.
Of course we are. Of course we are.
Yeah.
There's been times I've felt down. I've never said to myself, I'll be honest with you, that is, God help everyone, John. So I mean, if they're in that type of situation where they feel like they've got to take their life away, but
I've been suicidal before.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And thank God you're still here.
I'm quite happy.
Thank God
about
I've met you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm quite happy about it. The next part of your journey, Ilker, is college, and this, I'm assuming, is a good experience, a plus.
Again, unfortunately, Patrick, just looking at it was a good experience when I looked at it, but when I looked deeper into it, again, it's the same type of trend.
Right.
So I've gone into an area now, and I don't know anyone. I'm playing table tennis with some boy.
Yeah.
He starts taking the mickey out of me, starts blabbering it on in this.
See, if you knew me then, Ilker, I would have reacted violently towards him.
Yeah, so I did, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And again, it took a step where all of a sudden I go to lunch, there's 2-3 girls waiting for me. Go down to the exit, there's a couple of other girls waiting for me, or boys waiting for me, or everyone wants to know you then.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But
You can see why I misinterpreted Fanny in the park, can't you? Sorry. But yeah, college, where did you go? Which college?
I went to a college called Loughton College at the time.
Right.
I was the only light brown person, and there was this other brown person with me. So the whole school was white. They hadn't seen any brown people before, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So obviously there was that problem at the beginning, and then obviously being a little bit different than other people excluded me out of everyone. It was only, like I said, a week in, but nobody spoke to me, Patrick. They thought I was an alien.
Right.
After 8-9 days, I'm playing, like I said, table tennis with somebody, and from that moment onwards, I became the most popular person in the college. Everyone was inviting me here, everyone invited me there, which is good. I had a good time, don't get me wrong, and we had a good time with the girls as well. But
I think if I can have an honest conversation with you, Ilker, I think some people, not everybody, but some people, they're frightened of what they don't know. And if they see you, some people have to get to know you first. And then once they see what you're about, they're not frightened. But I've seen it with people before when some people aren't comfortable around people that are different, and it takes them time, I embrace it. I actually love it, you know.
You say that, Patrick,
Mm-hmm.
but I go to Asian countries and I have people who look at me, but what they do is they stare at you in empathy. Yeah, so they come over, and generally the first words that will come out of their mouth is, "Hope you're feeling better. What happened to you?"
Mm-hmm.
Which you don't mind so much.
No.
Well, I don't get that in Europe, to be honest with you, unfortunately, Patrick. I'm not. Like, I'll give you an example. Just 3 months ago,
Yeah.
or 4 months ago, I went to get some change in a pub. So I went to use the hand sanitizer, and a chap just next to me, drunk, said, "You're going to need a bit more than that, mate."
I don't understand.
So, yeah, you wouldn't understand because you're not that way inclined, if you know what I mean. But
Right.
so I put my hand underneath the sanitizer.
Right.
You see me put my hand underneath the sanitizer,
Yeah.
and as I've squeezed the sanitizer onto my hand, he's told me that I'm going to need a bit more than that.
Right.
Yeah, and his mate next to him's laughing and giggling, and then the other one's laughing and giggling.
Makes
Now,
me want to cry. That
Now,
it breaks my heart. That.
I'm in a situation where I've obviously like rung my wife, and
And this is recent as well. Yeah. Yeah.
this is like,
Yeah. Well, you've got to just remind yourself that some people are fucking stupid and ignorant, and they don't know. I don't know, but I say I'd never be violent again because I'm proud of the fact that I don't do the things I used to do. But deep inside here somewhere, I've just learned to manage it. But I don't get angry. I never raise my voice. Nothing. But that,
I'm a bit like that as well, Patrick. What it is that previously I wouldn't have cared if there was 3, 4, 5 people and what the consequences was going to be of it. But I hung around a little bit, feeling like angry,
yeah.
and then just pissed off out there.
Because the person it hurts the most is the person that's angry, isn't
Yeah,
it? You know,
yeah,
it hurts you because I don't like feeling like that. It really disturbs me. I don't like it. But
I've had
that makes me.
As Patrick, I won't go deeper into it, but I've had a few incidents like that. I've had another one in a couple of girls in Manchester as well, taking a picture of me. Yeah, I felt anyway. As I was walking past them, I felt something was going on. So I turned my head round, and they're taking pictures of me behind, and laughing and giggling.
Yeah.
That just happened 6 months ago as well, Patrick. Unfortunately,
See,
in this country we're too brainwashed, yeah, to think that anybody who's good looking is a nice person, full stop. Yeah.
Well, I know that's not true.
Yeah. So there could be nice people. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they're not nice people.
But that's not a benchmark.
That's not the benchmark.
Yeah. And I talk about this a lot. If you're truly a spiritual person, then it's like with a female, for example, and somebody says, "Do you like a darker, blonder?" And I can't answer that question because when you're truly attracted to somebody's true nature, their inner self, their divine light, what comes from within, the physical appearance comes second every time.
Yeah.
And so if I fall in love with somebody, I fall in love with somebody, and what they are on the outside, it's completely random.
Yeah, of course.
There's no pattern.
Of course.
You know, small, tall, big, thin, whatever. There's no pattern because it's the inside, the bit that excites my brain, the true
soul.
nature. Yeah.
The personality,
exactly.
soul.
The
Yeah.
soul. My point was that I'm not violent now, but when you're telling me these stories, I can feel it stirring me up, and I you know.
Don't worry, he won't even realise something happened. Karma will get him anyway. That's the way I look at it. You understand? I don't need to deal with him. He can deal with himself.
Yeah.
These are the type of people you can't help anyway, Patrick.
Yeah. It's learning to. And it's very difficult, but it's learning to rise above that, and in a way, almost feeling sorry for them, thinking
Of course, yeah.
they've got a long way to go before, you know, they're obviously lost in the matrix, the material beings, and they've just not got a grasp on what it's all about.
Yeah, I do. Like, don't get me wrong. Like every human's got feelings. At the end of the day, they're going to get down.
Yeah.
They're going to get, if they get hit or get told, they know, like, they don't look right, etc. This, that, and the other. So you got to believe you are who you are, and believe in the higher power, and try and fight it off, basically.
So, Ilker, rejection number 2. I have no idea what this is. It's in your show notes. So,
when I used to run the travel agency, I got quite popular with my voice. Believe it or not.
Well, you've got a very gentle voice.
I don't really like my own voice. I think a lot of people don't really like their own voice, really, when they hear it back to themselves. But not obviously, but back then, we used to deal with a lot of bookings on the phone. So, being the travel business, it was a lot of girls. So I ended up with a girl. She was alright. She was nice. We was young. Do you know what I mean? And we thought we was in love. We planned out we was getting married, etc. This, that, and the other. Went to mum and dad's house. They thought we was friends at the beginning. When you're in a Turkish families, I don't know. They want you to. It's more arranged marriagey than
right.
But we got to know each other, etc. Anyway, when it came down to the point of tying the knot up and letting the families know, obviously my mum and dad was all right and over the moon with it.
Yeah.
So then the turn came to going to her mum and dad.
Yeah.
And basically her mum and dad pretended to have a heart attack. Couldn't believe what she was hearing.
He pretended to have a heart attack?
Yeah, he pretended to have a heart attack. So I collapsed on the floor.
Well, he's a dick, isn't he? What was supposed to say? He's a dickhead.
So he's gone on the floor like thinking, I'm dying. How can my whatever daughter go with a bloke like that? Things like that. Do you know what I mean? So to cut a long story short, basically they didn't want their beautiful daughter marrying someone like me. It was their answer. And it was hard to take because when you're younger, you think you're in love with someone, don't you? So obviously, for a period of time after that, 6-7 months, I was quite down and felt like quite rejected.
Yeah.
It was a bit hard to pick myself back up again.
It must be hard going through life and this cycle repeating where somebody can't see past your scars. People that literally can't see past this. Well, then they're stupid, aren't they? And they and unfortunately, age is not no guide for this. Somebody can be 60 or 70 and still haven't figured out the basics of being a human being.
The chap in the pub I was telling you about must have been about 40, 45. So, there's no age difference.
And people don't think either. A remark can cause so much pain and hurt. It's not really comparable to what you're telling me, but when I started doing this, I've had a couple of sort of, I don't know if you call them trolls or whatever, but people didn't put very nice things about me. And I've realised now it doesn't bother me anymore because it's part of my journey. And I think when you're doing something and you're doing it quite well, there's going to be people that don't
jealous.
like it. And rather than some people, if you're excelling at something, or even just if you're happy, they try and bring you back down.
Of course I do, yeah.
And so I had some really not very nice comments put on about me. And the first couple of times, it was really upsetting, and I thought, why would they do this and that? And now it doesn't bother me. But just something simple like that, a few comments, really upset me at first.
I'm not, Patrick, I'm not going to lie to you and say to you that things haven't upset me. They have, but what it is that within myself, I build my own mechanism to fight things off and blank it off and tell myself that it isn't happening, no, it's not true, and build myself back up with confidence again. Yeah. And I've never had any, since my accident, nobody's really spoken to me about anything. I've never had anybody, psychological help from any establishment. Not that I've requested it, and back in my era maybe, it wasn't that frequently used anyway, so just with people who love you, if you surround them around you and you believe in a higher power, then hopefully you'll see it all through.
Learning something like when somebody says something that's very hurtful, to think, you know what, I feel sorry for you because clearly you can't see past this. you know.
Yeah.
So you've got a long way to go, and when you're in that place, you'll never really experience true love. You're never going to have a proper connection with another human being. If you can't see past my body, then life's very shallow. So that's their existence. That's all they have.
Yeah.
You know, you've obviously had to learn to see that past. I hope I've learned to see past that, you know, and I connect with somebody from what's inside.
Yeah.
The next part of your story, this is where it's becoming a bit more current, and we're moving on, and you meet Sam, Samantha, your soulmate, Paris's mum, mother of Khan, your soulmate. Yeah. How did that happen?
Well, as I was saying, when I was in the travel agency, when they went into computerization, I was looking after my dad's factory at the time, doing their payroll. So they were having some overmakes. They were called chain store overmakes. And I was going out selling them. So one place I popped into, which was where Sam worked. It was in Fontaine Road, trying to sell her this French Connection over chain make. Anyway,
Right.
so from there, we developed a relationship where we'd go out to lunch, etc., this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And then we realised that we lived opposite each other. So I lived in Chingford, she lived in Chingford, but she lived in a flat up 300, 400 metres away from me. So
That's highly convenient, isn't it? Is that the universe corresponding to the nature of your song?
So from there we went to work together. I went and picked her up, we went and work, we went to the factories, picked up chain store overmakes, and then from there onwards we developed a relationship. We realised that, you know, she saw beyond everything for me. Do you understand what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she did mention to me afterwards when I first came in that she thought I was coming to rob the place. That's another story. Well, I did have a long ponytail then.
Right. Well, see, this is a beautiful story because clearly Samantha sees you
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
And when somebody does that, you then see the beauty in them.
Yeah.
So it perpetuates, you know, when you meet somebody that's connected on a different level, and then you see the beauty in them also. So it's
We were-
divine.
We was like, we had a lot of things in common. For like, we were both a bit broken. Do you understand what I mean? Like, and we connected up very quickly with everything, you know, with the boys, with ourselves, with work, and we just grew and grew. And to be honest with you, our pockets grew and grew as well.
Yeah.
And over time, we built up a fantastic relationship.
Yeah. Is yourself and Samantha both run the business together? Or is that your thing? I don't know.
She comes in as well, but the majority, she does, yeah, she participates as well, but the majority is I do the bulk of it. Yeah. But she has helped me along the way as well, Patrick. You understand?
Of course, yeah.
Like we used to.
But the business side of things, the retail and everything, it's in your blood, isn't it? You've always done it.
Always done it. I've always been,
I liked in your notes that you thought you were Philip Green, but you were more like Del Boy and Rodney, and well, you're from Hackney as well, down that way, aren't you?
Yeah.
So.
What it was is that before I met Samantha, I had a shop on a temporary let in an area called Chatham. So when I met Samantha a year down the road after that, I'd said to her that I had a shop previous in this area called Chatham. I think like there's a proposition here where we can rent something on a temporary let. Should we go in there and see if we could do something of it? So the Del Boy side comes of this, Patrick. What it was is to bring people in. We used to stick speakers outside the shop.
Yeah.
And Sam and me, every week, used to make a new tape. Used to do play and record. Do you remember the old?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
So we pressed the play and record, and she'd be shouting out things like, "Oh, we don't pay VAT, we don't pay tax. Come and get your discounts." This is
It sounds like the theme tune to no income tax, no VAT.
That's it, like in a verbal rather than a song version of it. And we was ramshackled. We had like people hearing these speakers coming in thinking, and we done well.
Can I remember what you're saying, Ilker? And you had the speakers outside your shop.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had the speakers outside our shop, developed it. Within a year, we had 4 shops. Within 3 years, we had 7. And within 5 years, we had 15 shops.
Wow.
All around the M25, inside the M25, the London area. It was hard work.
Yeah.
But
Was it still What's Loved then, or was it a different
it was
name?
It was called $1 Million Babe.
Right. That's
That's
the name
what-
of the movie as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had a bit of a problem with our name with a company, I won't mention what the company is, because they had the name called $1 Million. So we had to change our name, and
Right.
that's how we come about with What's Loved.
And
afterwards.
how did you think the name up, What's Loved?
You know, sometimes a lot of things are instincts, but you do think to yourself, what is loved?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to think in your mind, what is loved? And what do you love?
Mm.
So it was a little bit thinking in that type of context, yeah.
Yeah. I think for so many reasons that name is perfect.
Fits in, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
You talked about, Ilker, obstacles as you get older. And do you mean about your development? Do you mean physically? You mean with your business? Obstacles as you get older.
Obstacles as I get older, a couple of the examples we touched on with the pub.
Right, yeah.
With a couple of girls that I was telling you about. Going forward, where my scars are, I should be. In the olden days, when they used to do skin grafts, they used to take a big lump out of skin from one part of your body, which was good, and move it to another place.
Yeah.
Now, those areas now, especially one of my hips, is causing me a problem.
Right.
But keeping regular exercise, flexible, hopefully I should be all right with that.
Yeah. I know what I've read, and I've met other people that have had skin grafts, and they'd take, like, they get some skin off your thigh, for example, take a section of it.
That's right.
But then where they take the skin from, you have to regularly stretch it and sometimes massage it as well.
Massage it gets dry, very dry,
Yeah.
and then there's thin layers. Like on my hip, you can nearly see my hip because they're taking it off my hip.
Yeah.
They don't do that procedure today, Patrick. They take a little bit and grow it.
Right.
I'm talking back when we was in 1973.
I suppose the
technology
technology's come on
wasn't-
a long way then,
yeah,
hasn't it,
yeah.
since then. So if you're okay, Ilker, I know you don't want me to sing about your business too much, but tell us a bit about it. So you're based in Cheetham Hill,
Yeah,
and it's a ladies' fashion wholesaler.
that's right.
What's Loved is the name.
Yeah.
Do you have many staff? Is it just that premises? Is there others? Tell us a bit about it.
It's just that premises. We've
Yeah.
got,
It's a big premises.
yeah, we've got 6 members of staff.
Yeah.
We were in London previously. We've still got a branch in London, but my brothers look after that now
Right.
because I'm not there no more. I've transferred it over to them, that
Yeah.
side of it.
And it's dresses, things like this, pants.
Yeah, dresses, jumpers,
Yeah.
trousers.
Mm. Willow said she used to go to, like, a couple of quite fancy, like, boutique kind of shops.
Yeah,
And they used to sell, she said it was the pants. You had, like, quite unique, I don't know how you describe them because I don't know about
well, they're
fashion.
quite quirky.
Yes, quirky pants. But she said that she used to buy these and she
Yeah,
loved them, and
yeah.
there was only certain places you could get them.
Yeah, we supply a lot of boutiques anyway around the Manchester, up the north, south. We've got about 3,500 boutiques that we supply
Wow.
when they're open.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of them are online now, so they're half doing business at the moment. But yeah, we've got a good clientele base.
I suppose with everything that's going on now, it's just about survival, really. It's just ticking over.
It is survival, yeah, and survival of the best. So
Well, it's all you've ever known.
yeah,
Surviving, isn't it?
yeah. So
I suppose if anybody can survive in this climate, in this industry, you can.
and hopefully everybody else can as well.
Of course,
everyone else
yeah.
has got the inner strength as well to survive and believe in themselves as well. You just got to put it in your mind, like you said, the biggest factor is the mind,
Yeah,
Patrick.
yeah.
If you put in your mind that you can do things and you can you're all right. You will be all right.
I think most human beings do not really fully understand the potential and what they're capable of until they're put in a situation where they have to survive. You know, you've been there, and so you're probably well aware that you've got gifts and that what you can do if you have to, if you put your mind to it.
Of course, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
A lot of people don't know that yet. You know, it's only when you're really tested that sometimes you have to dig deep and you have to find, you know, what you're made of.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah. A couple of things I'll touch on, Ilker. Mm-hmm. One is you're a vegan.
Yep.
Yeah. How long have you been a vegan?
8 years now.
Right.
8 years.
I've been vegetarian and then I went full vegan.
Okay.
Now I call myself, and there's a lady I know very well called Becky Jones, who's a health expert who's done some shows with me, and she coined the term a flexitarian, which means you do what you like. And I eat fish all the time. I fish most days.
Right.
And I very occasionally do have meat as well.
Okay.
But I do ultra running, so I started off doing 50-mile races. I now do 100-mile races, and the aim is to get to the 215-mile race, but I'm not there yet. A lot of the races were cancelled this year.
What,
but
running?
in doing that, yeah.
Running, Patrick?
Running, yeah.
Oh, really?
In doing that, sometimes I have to consume a massive amount of food and protein.
Yeah.
And although in theory you can get it from lentils and pulses, it's if you've got time, fine. But sometimes, you know, I eat meat. And I don't agree with it. I don't feel good about it. But I do. I'm being honest about it. I do. Maybe once a month I'll eat meat. You know. And
Patrick, the main thing is for me is that what did you used to do before? Eat meat 2-3 times a week, 4
Every
times
day.
a week? Right then. So you've cut it down. So you're saving a few lives anyway.
Yeah. But I went from being a full vegan for probably nearly a year to back to having meat occasionally as well. But there we go. But you're a vegan, and I think that says a lot about your character as well, because as a Buddhist we say all life is precious, all life. I won't kill a fly. Unfortunately I do eat meat occasionally, which I've not quite found my balance with that, but
don't worry, you'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, all life is important.
Yeah. I had this conversation actually yesterday with somebody about some people say look after your own first and this kind of thing, and I can't really get on board with that, because it doesn't matter to me whether somebody's from Afghanistan, Israel, Mexico, America. All life is equal. I don't value a British life any more than anybody else's, and I've been heavily criticised for that, but I don't. It doesn't matter. A human being, it's irrelevant where they were born.
Yeah. Look after your own is the human race. So you look after your own human race.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's only one race.
That's
the human
right.
Race. Yeah, exactly. And the second thing, which we touched on briefly before the show, which you didn't know whether you wanted to really talk about this, but I want you to, and I'd like you to mention it, is that you've done certain things with. You've been to an orphanage and you've done certain things with an orphanage. And maybe, I know you don't want to talk about it too much, and I don't want you to be uncomfortable, but it's part of your journey, so it's relevant, and I think it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been to a couple of orphanages, 2-3 orphanages. The best way I look at giving charity is basically going to who needs it, asking them what they want, and going and buying it for them.
Yeah.
Now, this orphanage, they needed nappies, the kids needed a bit of meat, so we was there to help them. I'm sure if you was around, Patrick, you would have helped them as well.
I hope so, yeah. I do what I can. Yeah.
I know you do.
I don't go into detail about it, but I do what I can.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah.
Good.
But
the long-term aim is obviously, we've got 4 rescue dogs. For me, it's about animals and children. You know, I've tried to help humans before, but some of them are so damaged, unfortunately. Like, I'm not a professional to be able to direct them in the right way, medically, psychologically. You know, and sometimes it's better off starting someone who's raw, who's not got a lot of brainwashing going on in their mind, and hopefully developing them.
Yeah.
And that's the long-term aim.
Yeah. I think the fact that despite your journey, and it's been beautiful in parts, but also been traumatic in parts
Yeah.
as well, obviously, that you still think there's people worse off than you, and you help people, and you give when you can, you know, and I think it's another mark of it. Human beings basically navigate with a compass that were programmed at school, and I say all careers advisors need careers advice, because they tell you to go out and get the job that's going to make you the most money, and that's going to get you the status and the power, etc.
Yeah.
We should navigate through life as human beings with this simple compass. Does this make me feel good, and does it benefit other people? Your happiness and helping others are the only two things that matter.
That's right. Yeah.
Everything else is
That's right.
bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, most people don't figure that out until they're, you know, a lot older.
Of course. Yeah.
You know,
when somebody's nice to me, whoever's nice to me, I'm going to feel nice. But, you know, it's generally someone's horrible to somebody, they're not going to feel that good. But unfortunately, you are going to get people like that in the world. You know what I mean, Patrick?
Yeah.
But
I'm quite fortunate now because I don't encounter that many anymore. Because I think I say the frequency you display attracts the people in your day. When you emit peace and love, you're not giving. What you focus on, you feed and move towards it. And there's people that are very negative, and they come and they want you to match their frequency. And I tell you, do not resonate with them, right? You can help somebody. Each time you raise yourself up, invite somebody to come and see the view. Try and lift them up to your frequency. But don't lower yourself to their frequency.
Yeah.
And if you don't match that frequency and you don't resonate with that, you don't feed it. You're not giving them what they need. And so negative people will move away from you when you're emitting peace and love. And the other people that are emitting peace and love and joy are drawn towards you because you resonate.
Yeah.
And so just by being peaceful and trying to experience bliss, your cup overflows and you give out what you have inside. Wayne Dyer always said, if you squeeze an orange, out comes orange juice. If you go into a stressful situation and you're peaceful inside, you'll have a peaceful response. If you go into a stressful situation and you're angry inside, you'll have an angry response.
Right.
So your number one job, and it's not a selfish pursuit, this is to help humanity. Your number one job is to fix this. It's to feel good. It's to do what you love, and then you'll give that to everybody you meet as you go around in your day.
that's right.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Ilker. I am so happy you came on the show.
I'm happy I came on.
It's my pleasure to meet you. I think you're a beautiful human being.
Thank you
I
very much.
feel very lucky to have spent
Me
time
too.
with you. You shine. And
you.
you are the reason, and we talked about this earlier, you are the reason I've done all of this. I feel like this is the point in my journey. You do things, you don't really know why, you follow your heart, and then occasionally you come to this crossroads where things meet and it all makes sense. This is it. This is why we do this show. And I'm
Good. I'm happy.
You're the reason.
Thank you
You're
very
the
much.
reason. I think people will watch this and you will change people's lives. They'll see this and they'll be inspired. And the whole point of my book was to show people what a mess my life was before. It's no good just saying everything's great. You've got to tell people, you know, if it wasn't good, tell them about
That's
it.
right,
Talk
yeah.
about everything. And then if things do get good, they can look at your journey, my journey in particular, and say, God, his life was a mess. Well, if he can do it, so can I.
Of course, yeah.
That's the whole point.
Whenever I've come across any friends or family who are a little bit down, that is one of the first things I actually say to them. To be honest with you, Patrick, if I can do it, you can do it.
Bingo.
And 9 times out of 10, it works.
Maybe just tell us, Ilker, then, where are you going from here? What are your long-term goals?
The long-term goals, as I've said before, for me, it's children and animals. Hopefully, we've allocated some land in Turkey, which is about 25,000 square foot. Hoping to acquire that quite soon.
Yeah.
It's not that much. I don't think it's like millions. It wasn't millions.
Yeah.
It's in a remote area of Turkey where the prices ain't too bad, acre-wise. So, and we hope to put some type of an orphanage, animal sanctuary, and by doing this, hopefully, with the assets that we've got at the moment, I'm hoping to sell them all up within the next couple of years,
Right.
and then use those assets to bring in some unfortunate kids who basically ain't got no mums or dads, or they've been left stuck in orphanages. I've tried, me and my wife, when we was younger, we tried to adopt a kid, but we were stopped straight away. Patrick, there's so much red tape. First of all, she was English, I was Turkish.
That should have nothing to do with any of it.
They see me as disabled, so they just got knocked on the head straight away. So I told Sam that basically, long-term wise, what we'll do, we'll buy property, let it build in time, and when the time is right, when the boys are looking after themselves and they're developed and they're ready for us to leave them, then we'll go and put this plan together where hopefully they'll have their own education, they'll have mental education, meditation, etc., knowing how to look after animals, knowing how to love.
The thing is, you have kids and you had animals in the same place as well.
Yeah,
that's like
that's
perfect for them,
heaven for me. Yeah. So I always believe, like, there's been times, Patrick, where you say to yourself, like, what am I here for? And maybe you haven't, but I have. But I always said the higher powers always put me here for a reason, and there's a reason for me being here. And if that means helping children out or animals out, or trying to be an influence to people who are a little bit down over silly little things and to prop themselves up and be positive, then that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Well, I can see it now. Somebody's saying, "Oh, does my bum look big in this? And what about this? And I've got like hairy arms or whatever." And you can go, "Fuck off!"
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when somebody sees somebody that's inspirational, quite often they stop feeling sorry for themselves as well, and they think, "Do you know what? Ilker did it. Ilker's had a rough ride, and he's still riding the crest of the wave.
Yeah.
If he can do it, I can do it."
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Thank you, Ilker.
Thanks very much. Thank you, mate.
Thanks for watching, everybody. And I'm going to leave the show now with a few quotes from my book, but I'm going to read them to you. There's 3 that I think are relevant. The further down you start, the more remarkable your journey. That's by Midnight McBride. That's saying that if you're floating around on a cloud, but you've always been floating around on a cloud and everything's great, then that's fine. But to be truly remarkable, it's when you've overcome adversity and trauma, and then you've had a successful life and found happiness and bliss and joy. If I could go back, would I do things differently? Yes, of course, I've evolved and grown. So, do you regret anything? No, of course not. That's how I've evolved and grown. If I could go back and make different decisions, would I? Yes, because I have some wisdom now that I didn't have when I made those decisions. But do I have any regrets? Absolutely not, because that's how I gained the wisdom. So it's a paradox, really, but you can't change your past. All you can do is accept where you are and move forward. And the final quote is Henry David Thoreau, and again it's in the book. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavours to live the life that he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. That's just telling you, when you follow your heart and your dreams and you believe in yourself and you keep moving forward, you will be surprised what you can achieve. Human beings have no idea of the full potential. You can watch this video podcast twice a week now. The shows are out every Monday and every Thursday. And we've finished with the back to front shows that we're going out every Saturday. We've done 5 of those. You can also get the audio podcast, which comes out 3 days later on, I believe, 11 platforms now, which includes Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Pandora, many others. You can go to my website, midnightmcbride.com. You can buy the book on Amazon in Kindle format and in paperback and many other places. You can also get the audio book on ACX, Audible, iTunes and others. You can catch the radio show every Monday night on Salford City Radio 94.4 FM, the Mind, Body and Spirit show. And you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and others. This has been Midnight McBride. I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much to Ilker for coming to the studio. Shalom.